We're discussing.
You're supporting.
What? Because you're standing here. That means we're supporting you, are we? Okay. Are we supporting you because you're standing up? Are we supporting you because you're now standing up?
I don't know.
Exactly.
All
So
right.
you just made.
Okay, ladies and gentlemen, my name is Jonathan. I'm 55 years old. I'm a male, as far as I can tell from birth, and I was born.
That's good start. Good start.
Brought up as an Orthodox Jew.
Right. Okay.
I've lived in Israel and Tel Aviv in the 1990s. I speak fluent Hebrew. I love all human beings and think we're all a bit mad as well.
Fantastic.
Okay? And my hope for humanity, which is a bit of a fantasy, frankly, is that we should all live together in peace and dignity.
Great.
All right,
Wonderful.
that's my view.
Wonderful.
All right. What happened?
But everything
There's
before
no
the
but. There's no but. What happened in what I call Israel? I don't know what you want to call it.
7th of October.
Known as on the 7th of October was an absolute catastrophe for my personal family, for my friends who live in Israel, and for my community.
And above all, for the people of Gaza.
And above all, for the people of Gaza, a catastrophe for everybody in the region. Right? I have a business partner who is very close to the former Prime Minister of Israel, and on the 8th of October, I wrote a text and said, don't bomb Gaza, with bombs. Don't kill people, right? Drop leaflets explaining what Hamas have done.
Why do you think they're doing that?
They're doing it because in the Middle East, people believe in this ridiculous, disgusting, stupid human idea of revenge, right? Revenge is the stupidest idea since the invention of human beings. Revenge just perpetuates more and more and more violence, and it seems to be a thing in the Middle East.
Isn't it true?
It's just mad.
It seems to be in the news. The reports I saw, I don't know whether they're true or not, but the reports I saw were saying that a lot of the people whose families have been taken hostage are opposed to the bombing.
Absolutely. Okay. They are opposed to the bombing. But the country of Israel is run by a very fierce army, the IDF. Right? It's been extremely aggressive since the beginning of the State of Israel because of fear of attacks and terrorism and whatever. And so the country is run by people who rise the ranks of the government and whose whole ethic is one of being strong and being violent to terrorize people into submission. That's what we do, right? And so I speak to my friends in Israel, and they all say we want to go and get them and kill Hamas and kill Hamas. We don't want to kill the babies, but we want to kill Hamas because they're terrorists. Now, having said that, right? If you look at what they did and what they say, the Hamas leadership and the Hamas actions in the 7th of October, they're pretty fucking scary, right? They're very scary. Like people are afraid. They're terrorized. They look at what happened to their families, burns in their houses.
I mean, the point was made earlier on.
They look at that and they go, "What are we going to do? We're going to have to become violent."
But the point was made earlier on that Hamas was backed by Netanyahu.
So I've heard several accounts from IDF fighters, former fighters, about the way that the defence on the day miraculously failed.
Right.
So for the month prior, all the fighters were disarmed, so there was no guns. The caches of guns
in the south of Israel, you mean?
Yeah.
Right.
But were taken away so that the public couldn't arm them for exactly this kind of attack.
Right.
The walls, which were
$1 billion worth of walls.
Impossible to not survey. I heard one IDF female fighter say that the telescreens that they have to view them on, it's impossible to look away. They are always scanning them. That was her experience when she was doing it. A cat could not approach the wall without a robot gunship killing it.
Right.
Okay. Now,
you hit me in the nose.
Sorry, I'm so sorry.
So you're saying it's a setup, yeah?
Right. So let me finish my.
I think we're working towards that.
Yeah. Basically.
I mean, it could be.
It takes 5 minutes. This is what another IDF fighter was saying. It takes 5 minutes for a gunship, a helicopter gunship, to transport a battalion of fighters to that region. It was closed. The wall was breached in 15 places. For seven, right? Okay, maybe it was 25. Right, so but a lot of places.
Right.
It was closed. All defences went down for over 7 hours.
Right. Okay.
Now, if you believe that is not an inside job, I've got a fucking bridge to sell.
It could be.
Okay.
I'm actually looking for a bridge at the moment.
Right, okay, come here, come with me, I'll show you a couple.
Look.
Do you think that's plausible, though?
Okay.
It's a long line of false flags.
Yes. So.
How are you?
Yeah, I'm Danny's brother. Yeah. So look. Let me.
Now look at you. Now look what's happened. Now look what's happened. We'll have no idea.
Okay. Look, I've had lots of conversations with Danny and many other people about what I'm going to call. I hope you don't mind me calling this. And you can reject it if you find it an insult. I'm calling this conspiracy theory.
Call it an alternative.
An alternative understanding of events. Okay.
I mean, it is a conspiracy theory. It is a conspiracy theory.
No, because he hasn't actually put forward, he hasn't really put forward his speech, or rather, I think you need to stop at the questions and say that you're massively sceptical about
Yeah, I am very
You
sceptical.
don't know. We
It
don't
looks
know.
like an inside
We don't
job to
know.
me.
Something's fishy. Something's fishy.
Something's a bit odd. And there's some
fishy.
gaps in your understanding of what happened, and there's some ideas of how to fill those gaps, such as inside job. You used the word inside job. That's
Yeah,
what you
this
said.
is what IDF fighters
If you're a
were saying.
detective
It's what IDF
looking
fighters
into
were
it,
saying.
you might ask these questions.
So so it's definitely
might be wrong,
it's definitely
but you
very
might ask the
odd,
question.
suspiciously odd. Yeah. However, you see the alternative, and this is the same with 9/11. Yeah, the alternative, which is an inside job, is to me.
Well, you don't want to
Beyond
believe
my,
it.
no, I don't want to believe it, and I also don't believe it. Like I don't believe. No, I don't know. But I think it's very unlikely. Yeah, that some people in Israel at the level that they can make this happen, right, were willing to sacrifice hundreds and hundreds of citizens of Israel in order to create a pretext to mow down Gaza. Is that what you mean?
You're naive.
Listen,
Very
during
naive.
COVID, Netanyahu basically sold the nation out to be the first guinea pigs for the vaccine.
Yeah, it's a different. The guinea pigs of the vaccine is a different. I can imagine that. I mean, I think it's not imagine. It definitely happened, right? But to go to bed at night knowing that you're going to let a bunch of terrorists into these kibbutzim and mow people down knowingly in advance.
But the
that's unlikely.
by the ends.
I think you might be right.
Under Gaza. The ends is to flatten Gaza.
Yeah, but there's another thing that follows from that.
Before you tell that, okay, let's talk about flattening Gaza, right? So just before I say this, right, especially because you're recording this, but even if you weren't, right, every single human being, including terrorists, as far as I'm concerned, is a universe, and every time someone's killed or died, it's a loss of an infinite possibility of that life, whoever they are, especially if they're innocent babies, right? However, yes, just in the context of 2.3 million people, human beings who live in Gaza, Hamas has reported, and I don't know how trustworthy the numbers are, Hamas has reported 7,000-ish deaths, which is a lot of deaths, right? But it's 0.003% of the population, right? So if there was a pretext created to hang on within 2 weeks, 3 weeks. Wait. It's a lot of human beings, but if you want a pretext to commit what I would call the genocide, right? To kill loads and loads of people and decimate them. 0.003% is shit. It's a terrible number, low number for your pretext. Why would you have a pretext which caused so much pain to Israelis, let them in, and only, inverted commas, murder, 7,000 kill or whatever, 7,000 people? Why wouldn't you carpet bomb the place, right? In other words, the evidence doesn't support. Yeah, okay. How does it help to kill just?
Doesn't support what?
7,000
Doesn't support
people?
what?
It doesn't support the theory that there was an
No,
inside job.
nobody is saying that this is finished.
So what is the theory here?
Nobody is saying the game is finished. And the other argument is, which I think probably is correct, I do think that's probably correct, that the Israeli IDF and their security services are so incompetent that this happened. That's the alternative argument. That's the argument given officially, which also means that they're so utterly incompetent that this happened. It also means they're so utterly incompetent that they will not be able to fight the war. And that it will be a disaster what they're doing, which reinforces the argument.
I think that's very likely because
that is even worse.
Because if you're looking at it as a game of chess, right? The Hamas organised this atrocity, right? This atrocity in order to attract the killing machine of the IDF, right? And if you're playing chess, you don't want to do what the other guys expect you to, which is to invade.
Okay,
so I agree
no,
with you.
they
I think
knew
Israel's
they'd
attack on
invade.
Gaza is
They
ridiculous.
knew they'd invade.
Exactly.
And the
Anyway, guys,
and the fact
what I'm
the
interested
fact
in,
that the kidnapped people
yeah,
are saying they shouldn't bomb.
the families.
And that's right. But the Israeli IDF is still bombing and ignoring, shows that they couldn't give a shit about the people.
Well, we don't know what the shenanigans are going within the
There's no-
cabinet. We don't know. But let's just part this aside because what's happened has happened, and we don't know what's happened.
But
Yeah?
what's happening
Well,
now?
let's look towards the future, all right? Because I came here to ask people, and I would like to ask you people. Yes. When you see, I don't know if any of you attended it yesterday, but when you see a Free Palestine sign or a sticker or a march or whatever, yes, what do you think the people mean when they say Free Palestine? If you think Free Palestine is a good couple of words as a slogan, what do you think it means? So if you don't mind, I'd
means the
like to
creation
voice
of
it.
the-
I'd like to voice
probably
it.
the creation of a creation of a state
Okay, so
where
what does
Palestinians
free-
and Jews
Right.
live in peace and
Right.
harmony rather than being controlled by the Israeli army.
Right, so Free
And
Palestine
if that
means
means
a
if that
what? It means a
if that
state.
means Palestine is the state,
Right.
and the Jews,
And the Jews
live
can
there,
live in the state,
then
fine.
that's that.
But, so
maybe
first
that's
of all-
how it should be. You know.
Right, first of all, thank you for that answer. Second of all,
That's one answer.
Anybody else got any other answers what Free Palestine might mean?
Some people think it might mean two states.
Sorry? Equal rights? So, no, okay, so Free Palestine means that the area which used to be called Palestine, half of which is in Jordan, yeah, is filled with human beings who have self-determination and dignity, yeah? That's what I think it means, right? But there are 6.3 million Jewish people calling themselves Israelis who currently live in that territory. What's going to happen to them?
They should
in
be
a
able to
free
live there.
Palestine.
However, a lot of the
think they should be able to live
people, a lot
there,
of the
sir?
people moving in there to settle the
hang on,
territories
I'm
and
gonna
drive
ask
people
this
out.
chappie here.
That's no good, is it?
Yeah. Free equal rights. Jewish and Palestinians should have free equal rights in the land. Right. Fine, but you think Free Palestine means the Jews and
Are
the
you
non-Jews
waiting
and
for someone to say something inflammatory?
all live together in one state. Okay.
Are you waiting for someone here to say something
I'm
inflammatory?
not waiting for anything. I'm just. My impression I get from looking at those marches, yes, and some of the things that some people say, people I talk to, I've spoken to at Speaker's Corner, suggest. Last week a guy called Hamza, who was here, he told me the Jews have to leave. That's his image of the Free Palestine.
Some people think that.
Yeah, some people think
There are
that. So
people
I'm
in
asking, and
there
you
are
give me an
people in
answer. I'm very happy
England.
with
There
the
are
answer.
people in England who think the foreigners should leave here as well.
Fine.
Well,
Yeah,
that's a
okay.
minority
Fine,
view.
but if
However, the settlers who are coming in, many of them from the United States,
Right.
being given money, being given land, and driving Palestinians out, that has to end. And
I don't know
Jewish
about,
people
I
in
don't know
Israel have
about
to
the
realise
I don't know
that.
about the driving Palestinians out.
Oh, come on.
What do you mean, come on? I
I mean,
was
they're
in
going- they-
I was in the
they-
occupied
they-
territories.
they-
I was in the occupied territories last month, yes? And I know lots of people who live there, and as far as I know, no one's been driven out.
I think there's a lot of people who've been
The Jewish settlers have settled amongst Palestinians, but they haven't driven anyone out. Sorry?
Economy then. If
Sorry?
The Jews are being given money from foreign countries to go and
No, by
settle
Israel.
these areas, by
Right,
Israel,
right,
sorry,
right.
and they can afford to buy the property. And Palestinians don't have a lot of money
allowed to
to
leave.
afford to
Right,
leave. Then
right.
that's kind of driving them out in an economic
No, but
There's a
if you,
two-tier
let me tell you, I've been
apartheid
to the territories hundreds of times, including a month ago, right? And this is my understanding. I'm not an expert. This is my understanding from visibly seeing it, right? You drive through Samaria, right? Shomron in Hebrew, yeah, in the West Bank, okay. And what you see is you see a Palestinian village there, an empty hill there, a Jewish settlement there, a Palestinian settlement there. Yeah, it's not like you have to throw out this people from this village and take it over. You just go on the next hill and set up your settlement. Yes. So you don't, I'm saying you don't, there's not a lot of.
Whose hill is it?
Look, let me tell you something. What's happening in Israel and in the occupied territories and happening for 75 years, there have been lots of horrible things happening. You don't need to make stuff up. You can just go with the reality. The reality is that there was a war in '67. The Israeli army took over the whole of the West Bank, and then after that 10 years, settlements started to emerge. Now there's 600,000 people living amongst the millions.
Right, but if you
of
give them
Palestinians
loads of
living
money
there.
to move into that area, and the Gazans are kept in one area, in effectively
No, the
as a
Gazans are
prison.
separate from.
Well, but
from
it's
that.
hardly, a fair relationship, is it?
I don't don't think it is a fair relationship. I don't
So
know.
that's what happens.
I don't think anyone thinks it's a fair relationship. I don't think that's a
Are you supporting it?
Am I supporting what?
That unfair relationship.
Well, it's complicated. No, I don't support them or
Funded
not.
settlers to take land from
They're not taking
Palestinians.
land. I think the settlements in the West Bank are a terrible idea for several reasons, not least of which is that, I'm in no particular order, but I think to have an army go in and occupy militarily people who don't see them as their army is just a corrupting force for young people and for the people who are being
What do you feel
militarised.
sad
What's your name,
about?
mate? What's your name?
My name's Johnny.
What do you feel
Johnny
about
Shine,
when the?
What's that?
What do you feel when the Israelis like right now? We can
Come
see
again.
on the news.
Come
yeah?
back
What's
next
that?
time.
Say again?
We can see right now on the news when the Israelis settlers
late.
or whatever Zionist story.
Yeah, yeah, yeah.
Saying
Late.
all the
It's
Arabs
late.
has to die there. What do
All
you think
the-
about? All the Arabs, they are animals.
Oh,
we
when
have to kill them.
right
What do you think
right-wing
about that?
Israelis say that,
Yeah. What
including,
do you think
including
about
by the way,
What do you think
one
about
of the,
that?
the members of cabinet, yes, who no, Smotrich, Ben Gvir, who's a right-wing extremist Jewish
was
settler,
my guest.
right?
You were my guest, so you
so
better stand
thank
down.
you very much.
He's
You wanna
becoming
stand down?
Danny Shine now.
Right.
want to close
Well
that?
done.
Thank you very much.
Thank you very much. Have a nice day.
Thank you very much.
Thank you very much.
Keep with the facts.
He does. He really does.
I'm sure.
You need to
He
listen.
said,
No,
he
you
said
listen to
CNN
him.
were making stuff
They
up.
were.
What did they make up?
They do. This is a
You
documentary.
did the last-
If you go
people
to-
can
if you
get
go
their
and,
answer for the
find
last
out
question.
Ollie
Who?
Damagard. Okay. There's a guy called Ollie Damagard.
Right.
Who,
sorry.
I think he's Swedish. Let me just finish it.
Yeah.
So he goes around the world documenting the way that media orchestrate and actually act out a lot of these supposed atrocities. The
Right.
BBC's been caught with their pants down about this many times. Actually,
But the thing is,
using
that I don't know why they need to
actors,
do
fake
that
blood.
because I don't think
Because
anyone
it's
here
TV.
I don't think anyone here, right, believes that there were no atrocities in Sderot or Kritzberry. There were some atrocities.
Yes.
Whether they cut the babies' heads off or not is irrelevant to
no,
me.
it is very,
not.
it's very relevant.
You don't need
This
to
is
behead
the
a
same-
baby to be evil if you kill the baby and don't
No,
behead it.
no, but
Who
this
cares?
Is,
Why
but
would
this
anyone
is-
bother?
Look, this is a track record. This is a track record of this sort of extreme propaganda being used since the First World War. They used to talk about the Hun being baby killers, and they had pictures of like German.
baby's head was chopped off? What proof do you need?
No,
guys, why are we even discussing it? Who cares?
What proof you would need?
I
would
don't
be
understand
firstly to
why
have-
CNN or anybody else needs to make anything up.
What proof do you need? Because I've got proof I'm happy to share with you. The question will be helpful.
You don't know what happened.
You didn't answer
I'm
the
happy to
question.
share
Very
with you
difficult
from
in this world, especially with AI, to know what
I
happened.
can show
right?
you black and
Just
white.
ask the questions. You've got some very good questions.
One baby, 100
The burden
babies.
of
Relevant.
proof.
What's your pitch? So let's go over here.
I said, what do you think
I
about
agree with you, but I'm saying to you,
You say it,
when you argue about those details, you're now taking the focus. 1 second. You're taking the focus off the other questions, which are far more important. Far more important. Which is how did that? You don't know. We don't know who knew what. Right?
Wasn't that crime?
But all these things do not add up, and that's what needs, because the same with 9/11.
Yes,
right?
exactly.
Nobody knows exactly what they did. There's all sorts of different theories, but they
there's
got
a
out
clear
of it
copybook.
by the question. What are the what? But but you just need to stick to the questions.
So what question would you ask?
Well, how did a territory that's so carefully guarded that anyone that's served there, soldiers and Israelis, I would say, like a cat would move and they would catch it. Yeah. That's number one. Number two, why did it take so long, many hours? They could have got
over 7.
Okay, they're saying there's a
7
balls
hours.
up. That's what they're saying.
Was that?
They're saying there's
Yeah,
a balls
that
up.
is their
remember,
official,
That's what
yeah,
they say.
official line.
Okay.
Yes,
I know.
Which I
The
don't
COVID
buy.
story.
I
The
don't
COVID
buy.
story, as far as they're concerned, is entirely just one balls up after another.
Yeah, I know.
There
I
is truth
understand.
to that.
There's
There's not all the truth.
You can't make
might be,
mistake
there might
after
be.
mistake after mistake after mistake
Sometimes
after
you can.
catastrophic
No, there's-
mistake
there's a good
and it
explanation
not
for
be
what
organised. It can't be. No, that's it.
No, I don't think it's
I
a
just don't
conspiracy.
buy it.
It's
I
not a
don't buy it.
conspiracy. Israeli society up until 7th October has been racked by demonstrations, hundreds of thousands of people against the corruption, the Likud trying to overturn the judiciary. The IDF were probably more focused on internal issues, and that's why they got distracted. and they drop the ball.
They might
I don't think they would allow 1,500 people to get murdered.
They might want to be sanctioned.
It depends what you mean by
They wouldn't want to allow 1,000.
One second. You have to understand.
You're just speculating. I'm giving a valid explanation.
I've heard a lot of evidence.
From my
to support
perspective, when I'm sober, I genuinely do not believe that there's such a thing as a Jew or a Muslim or a Christian. We're just humans, right? Who have been told stories. There are people at the top, right, who understand this. Right, they understand that the people below they're not our people, right? Netanyahu, right? In order to be in this, it's the system that's a problem. The system attracts psychopaths. It requires psychopaths, right? You have to be. So he doesn't think like you, right? Otherwise, he doesn't think that they're his people. He realizes that it's bullshit. They're not his people, really. His people are people who are on his side.
Psychopaths like him.
People who are working for him, with him. Yeah, those are his people. The rest don't give a fuck, right? And therefore, there's an incentive also for him because he's so cuckoo, right? So he probably could be convinced or convince himself that, and he may not, who knows how much of this he really knew. He could convince himself. He could convince himself that, if he let that happen in the long term, we've got to get rid of these people or whatever is going on in his mind. In the long term, it'll be best. So you have to sacrifice a bit of these people.
So you're calling for revolution, overturn the system that creates these people.
You pay your taxes, you
Not
go
me.
to work, you don't
It sounds like you're implying that.
I'm not calling for anything, right? I just think, the system is the problem. The system is the problem.
Inequality of power,
all the people
concentrating power in the hands
thing
of
is
a few
that
people.
who's losing out in that area, right? The humans, just that, all of them, the Palestinian and Israelis
don't think of
are
yourself
wrecked.
as
They're
British?
all wrecked. No, of course I'm not British.
Or English
Joke.
or anything like that.
No, they're rubbish. British English. Well, fucking bullshit. What do I know my people are. My people are not British, Muslim, Jew, black, white. No. My people, they think eye to eye. They think we see eye to eye. We think similarly.
Okay, well, that was solid.
Thanks very much, guys.
Very solid. Good answer, man.
I believe what you're saying, man.
That's us.
So we got the prep.
That's lovely. Well done. That's very good.
What's this? Another bag here.
Joseph,
language they were talking on
why
the
was
phone.
your defence? Why was your system of defence? Although it was probably the most sophisticated wall in the world. Why do you think the defence that your wall was so weak? Why do you think your wall was so weak?
They're swearing at you because
Why do you
you're
think
coming out
your
with
wall?
rubbish.
Why do you think your wall was so weak? Why was your defence so incompetent?
So do you want the honest answer?
7 hours,
You want the honest answer?
unhindered.
They knew about
How
it.
come?
They wanted it. They wanted it. They wanted it.
Oh, yeah, we wanted
Of course
our
you
babies.
did.
Yeah,
Maybe not you,
did.
but some people,
Sorry, who wanted the Jews?
I said I didn't say anything about the Jews.
Or the Israelis? The Israelis
I didn't say anything about the Israelis. I said some people might want it. Some Secret Services people, some Mossad people. Who knows?
Why does he have to answer?
Some people
He said
might
some.
do something like that. Alternatively, your army is so incompetent that all of the show over the years is a facade.
Do you want
That's
to
the
know what
alternative.
happened?
So one or the other.
All the technology they
Two
have.
possible things it could be.
Technology they have.
You got a better answer.
I have. I've got the actual answer.
Go on, then,
Let's
what is
hear
it?
it.
So, since 2022, October, Hamas have been planning this operation. And what Hamas did, they lulled the Israelis into a false sense of security. When Islamic Jihad were firing rockets on Israel, and I was very confused for a year. I thought Hamas were losing control of the Palestinians because from Gaza, every single time you saw rockets landing on Israel, it was Islamic Jihad or other militant groups firing them from Gaza and not Hamas.
So
and
Hamas outsmarted Israel.
Listen, yes, in
what
this
you're
instance
saying.
they did. In this instance they did. So what Hamas gave the impression was they were focused on building up the government and the economy, focused on getting work permits.
I heard that.
Work
That's television
permits,
talk.
work-
That's television talk.
Yeah.
That's like Newsnight,
It's
BBC.
just one-sided. Bias, prejudice,
Tell us
one-sided
something.
information.
Why did the Israelis not have a wall that was secure, given the fact it's the most strongly guarded wall in the world. That's got nothing to do with Hamas. That's to do with you.
Instead of
or
interjecting,
Israel, not you.
Are you interested in my answer or not?
I am interested, but you didn't answer it.
But your answers are always long-winded. You never address the question.
Can you stop shouting at me, you grumpy old man?
You never answer a question directly.
Why were they so incompetent? Why were they so incompetent?
So again,
why was the wall so porous?
I understood your question.
I can't understand it.
So now allow me to answer. What Hamas have, they have a cyber unit, hackers. And the hackers...
In comparison with Israel?
No, not in comparison. But Israel wasn't expecting it. Do you understand what insurgency is? Do you understand what a war of insurgency is?
I think Israel knows that very well. You don't have to ask me.
So you think, your name Haiku, is it
Heiko, yeah.
Heiko, you're saying you believe that Israel wanted
I'm asking you one of two questions.
You actually said it.
One is,
you said somebody did.
I said somebody might have. I said might have. It's just a theoretical
claim.
Why would they want
claim?
Given the fact that
Heiko,
this
why would somebody want this to happen? Why would a Jew? Why would a Jew want Hamas to be?
There's millions of
Why would a
Jew? Millions of reasons.
I'm talking about Jews. I said, why is it the strongest wall in the world
How's it the strongest
was so
wall
weak?
in the world?
And what you're saying is that Hamas were very clever.
Yes, they were.
And outstripped the strongest wall of the strongest security system in the world.
Heiko, do you know what the
That's one possibility.
Heiko,
but then that
listen,
means,
my brother.
Just one second.
I understand your question.
Then that means that the Israeli state, Israeli state, it has been pretending all along that it's got some enormously powerful thing, and it doesn't have any such thing. Is that what you're saying?
So again,
the IDF are totally incompetent.
Do you know what a
and if they're totally incompetent,
Heiko, do you want my answer? Do you want to just put words in my mouth? Do you want my answer, or do you want to put words? Do you want to straw man me and put words in my mouth?
Fine.
Okay. So, Heiko, please allow me to respond.
Yeah, go on.
I'll stay calm. You stay calm, but just let me speak, and then you can come with all your tinfoil stuff.
Okay. Tinfoil.
So Hamas have a cyber unit, and what they did, they took out the Israeli surveillance infrastructure. The day was Simchat Torah.
What time was that?
I couldn't tell you the exact time, I'm sorry. It was when they first went in. I don't know.
And they didn't notice for 7 hours.
So again, allow me to respond.
Okay.
So do you know what Simchat Torah or Shemini Atzeret is?
No.
You wouldn't, because you're not Jewish.
No.
It's a Jewish festival.
So it's a pointless
I did hear that.
So it's a Jewish festival. So the overwhelming majority of the soldiers had gone home. It's like Christmas. You go home to spend it with your family.
Right.
And so it was understaffed.
Sneaky.
It was understaffed. There was a cyber attack which took out the surveillance. Right. Then they came with drones, which Israel's never seen before. Hamas now had drones, which they then dropped the explosives on surveillance.
Hang on.
Heiko, you said you're not going to interrupt.
Go on. Sorry.
So then what happened? They then came and the elite unit of Hamas with the paragliders came over the top, under the cover of thousands of rockets that had been fired to the north. So Israel was distracted momentarily. They then took down the fence with a bulldozer after they exploded a hole. They then took it down with a bulldozer, and thousands of Hamas militants and civilians, bizarrely, came over into Israel and started murdering, raping, and killing. The first place they went was the base, and I can show you the video of them going into the base, which Hamas released on their own Telegram. You can go on Telegram and look at it yourself, if you can type Arabic.
It was 1,500 Hamas fighters, not thousands.
1,500 were killed. 1,500 were killed. 1,500 were killed. Thousands went over.
No, that's not what they said.
They went back.
You're getting distracted. Carry on.
It's hard for him to stick to his answer when he keeps getting interrupted.
Yeah, that's what I mean.
And so
he's not that badly interrupted. Carry on.
And so I'm glad it's funny for you, by the way, Heiko.
I'm just finding it funny that there isn't an explanation.
Heiko,
you're giving an answer.
I've tried for the last half an hour.
It's not really an explanation.
Exactly what happened with me.
Right. The alternative then is, according to what you, if what he has said,
just say what.
One second. If what he has said is true,
Heiko, you said you'd allow.
Okay, what did you want to say?
So thousands of well-trained Hamas soldiers came into Israel, and what they did, it was unlike any other situation has been before, because they took, and they've been planning this since October 22. They took hundreds of hostages. They massacred, but they inflicted horrendous crimes. But they also took hostages, and then inside buildings in Israel, under the cover of hostages, they started attacking the IDF as they came in. I can give you testimony if you're genuinely interested. I can give you the testimony of people who were there.
You're telling me what happened, not why it happened.
So the reason it happened is because Hamas, and I can't tell you Hamas's intention, but Hamas wanted to initiate this. Hamas.
Is it true that for a whole period of time Israel was supporting Hamas?
No.
Against the Palestinian Authority.
So they,
is that true?
So
or is that all a lie?
Literally, we just had this conversation.
Is that all
before.
a lie?
Heiko, we just had this conversation
Okay,
before.
okay.
So are you suggesting?
You can just quickly answer
No. I want to ask you a very specific question in relation to what. How are you connecting that to what's just happened? Are you saying that Hamas are under Israel's control?
No, I didn't say that.
No, that's what I'm trying to understand.
No,
why you
I
said
didn't
it.
say that.
So
I
what
said,
are you saying?
is it
Say
true?
what you're saying. Instead of dancing with me, say what you want to say.
Is it true? That's what I asked. It wasn't a very complicated question.
Okay, why did you
is
ask
it true
What's the
that
connection?
Hamas?
What's the relation to today?
Because it indicates a dodgy behaviour on the part of certain elements within the Israeli state, which then could, I'm not saying did, but could have a connection to the opening of the border, given the fact that the border was supposed to be the strongest border in the world. I mean, I lived in East Germany when the Berlin Wall was there, and it wasn't easy to cross. But I mean, I used to go up and look on the platforms and see how people might cross or not cross. Everyone used to think that who lived there. Could you cross? What is it possible? How would you do it? What would you do? And what you are saying is, I mean, I always thought the Israeli state was a particularly powerful security system. I always thought they were particularly good at that. Whereas what you're saying, and I do understand it, what you're saying is the Israeli state is utterly and completely incompetent and betrays its own people.
Jews.
In that respect, and I did see that was the dominant view in Israel. I think most people blame Netanyahu.
Jews, pay attention to what the far left in the UK is saying. Pay attention. These are the bedfellows of Hamas.
How am I just asked you a question about Hamas, and you come out with a silly statement like that. When I asked you, did Israel support Hamas, you refused to make a statement because you knew they did.
He's literally saying that some Israeli Jews, not Israeli Arabs, I'm sure,
I was talking about Jews. I didn't mention Jews.
I know you didn't. Israelis, you were very careful not to say that, Heiko. You always are. Israelis.
Well, we haven't talked very often, so.
Well, every time we spoke, it seems to be about anti-Semitism, and you're with some far left crime. It's all camera. You're on my channel, mate. You're on my channel.
Show me what you just said. But anyway, show me what you just claimed. But anyway, go on.
With Marx, when you defended Marx on the question of Jews.
Oh, let's just avoid that for the minute.
Exactly.
It's not relevant to this discussion.
Instead of killing civilians, can't the idea go and fight man to man with Hamas?
Just
one more question.
We're going to.
Given the fact that you are telling me that Hamas are so clever, the Israeli state is.
I've got to go to a video.
You're saying Hamas are so clever, the Israeli state are completely incompetent, and yet the Israeli state is going to successfly fight a war to eliminate Hamas.
That's exactly what I said.
That's what you're saying, is it? Is that what you're saying?
That's what you just said. I said.
You said it was possible.
I did say it was possible.
So what makes you?
I'm not taking one side or another. I'm saying.
Clearly, you're not taking a side, Heiko. Clearly.
On this question, whether or not the Israelis.
Your side is very clear.
What side is that?
We know
what side is that?
Condemn Hamas.
I'll condemn Hamas. I've got no truck with Hamas.
Okay.
What I said was, rather than you accusing me of some Hamas connection, I have zero connection. I have never, ever spoken anything about Hamas. However, a couple of minutes ago, when I asked you whether or not Israel had supported Hamas, you suddenly went silent.
Heiko, look at you. You came over, you saw a Jew. Look how you reacted when you saw me.
I saw you.
Yeah, exactly.
Nothing to do with a Jew. What's that got to do with it? I interviewed another Jew.
You came over, and your line of questioning is Israel
did Israel support Hamas? I didn't say that. I said nothing of the sort. I said there are two possibilities that from my guessing.
And you eliminated
the Israeli state were incompetent.
Do you condemn Hamas? What Hamas did?
Of course I condemn Hamas.
No.
Of course I do.
And a second question.
So is that your answer?
Second question.
Your trap door, but it's our trap door.
Do you believe that Hamas carried out the attack?
Yes, probably, yes.
Do you believe it under the instruction of Israel?
I didn't say I believe that. I said I doubt the explanations being given by Israel. I doubt them. I don't think the Israelis are that incompetent. But you're saying they are.
On this instance,
you're saying but if the Israeli state on the 7th of October was so utterly incompetent, and for a year before that, when Hamas was planning this in secret and the Israeli state knew nothing about it.
Yeah.
Now you're telling me they're going to successfully pursue a war because they're so competent.
If you have an enemy who strikes you when you're unexpected, it does not mean you will not win the war. Hamas had the element
No,
of
but
surprise.
you're successfully going to do this. And you're going to minimise casualties.
Yes.
And you're going to look after the people. This we're supposed to believe now. Well, I don't find that believable.
I know
You know, I don't find it believable.
Because you're the
you know,
anti-Semitic left, so you wouldn't.
where's the anti-Semitism coming?
Because that's what you are. I
anti-Semitic
believe you're an anti-Semite.
What you believe.
From our
So that's
conversations
enough,
we've
is
had.
it?
From the
That's enough, is
conversations
it?
we've had.
Your belief
Look,
that I'm
you
an
run over.
anti-Semite.
I'm talking to people. You run over with your weird conspiracy theory. That
Where's
Israel,
the conspiracy
there's
theory?
Because it's inferring
Where's
that
the
someone in Israel
conspiracy
wanted this
theory?
to happen.
My friend,
I'm not your friend. I'm not your friend.
The Egyptians contacted Netanyahu. They told him something's about to happen, and he ignored it. Right? That's on record. So it's not my conspiracy theory. The Egyptian security services said this is what happened. They spoke to Netanyahu directly. Now you are saying that isn't what happened, and Netanyahu basically, and the Israeli leadership, and the Israeli security services, and the IDF are totally and utterly incompetent.
No, I didn't say
that's
that.
what you're saying.
You said that.
And if that's the case, then I don't see how you can expect them to
Michael,
conduct a war on your behalf.
Don't come and talk to me again because you don't actually listen to what I say.
Oh, I did listen to what you said. You check the timing on this. You'll see. You had about the same time as I did. I didn't have any excess time. I didn't have any excess time. Sorry?
What's your YouTube channel?
Subject
No,
action.
because I've got to go. I'm going to come back in an hour or so.
All right, see you later. Have a good day. Have a good day.
Subject what?
You can find out.
No, I've got to go to a beach shop. That's Jewish massacre.
Can I see your Bible copy from there?
What's the name of that?
Hey, Dan, yeah. Good.
Started off when their parents ejaculated. Ejaculation is the cause of the problem too, guys.
How are you today?
Very well, thank you. How are you?
Fine contribution last week. Everyone appreciated.
Oh, right. Oh, I've got a new campaign that I thought we can
What's
sort
your new
out.
campaign?
I think we can sort out the problems in the Middle East.
Right. So, what is it?
I don't know if I can get any of your anyone to send in donations.
Tell us about it.
I can't find it. It's basically, I think we should be sending a combination of very strong cannabis, edible cannabis, and contraception to all Israelis and Palestinians as a matter of great urgency. We need to force the Israeli military leadership, the Israeli political leadership, Hamas, the Palestinian Authority must be forced at a certain time, sooner the better, to prove that they have taken a very large quantity of edible cannabis. They will then be put in a Zoom room and we will all be able to watch them falling over the place, having forgotten what they were arguing about and laughing when they realised how dumb they all actually were.
A good friend of mine told me that when they went to Israel, they were surprised that everywhere you go, people are smoking cannabis.
Is that right?
Yeah.
They need more. They need more cannabis out there. The people in Gaza need cannabis to get over this going on. Those soldiers, whatever, they need to get stoned. And then maybe they'll wake up and realise, hold on, should I really be doing what someone else tells me to do? Obedience, it's a terrible idea. Obedience is the problem in the Middle East. Obedience. It's people doing what somebody else told them to do. Oh, it's okay to kill that person. Oh, all right then, let's do it. Right? That's the problem in the Middle East. And if we get some cannabis in between, maybe they'll wake up. Hold on a minute. What am I doing all this for? I'm just getting stoned. But why am I arguing? I don't even remember who I am. We'll get them some strong stuff and they have to take it.
Thanks very much.
But at the same time, we must make sure that they are educated to realise.
I lived there prior to, I've lived there once.
When did you live there?
In a year before the 6 Day War. I was living there when the army came in to the kibbutz. We were on the Syrian border.
Right.
The army came in and told the kibbutz people to start digging trenches. They said, piss off, we're not going to do it. And they said, well, if you don't, we'll stick you all in prison.
They stick you in prison?
All of us. They
For
wanted
what?
them to dig start digging trenches ready for this war that was going to
They wanted
happen.
you to dig
yeah,
trenches?
I was living there working
Right.
on the kibbutz, yeah.
Right.
I lived with them, they were all right.
You're a bit of a hippie then, were you?
Yeah, I was, putting it bluntly. I went there because I was a bit left-wing.
Right.
And the kibbutz was Marxist. It was Marxist run.
Yeah.
So I put it that way, you know. Nobody had anything. you couldn't have a carpet till we could all have a carpet, all that crap, you know.
Nothing would be happy.
Well, that's true. Yeah, exactly.
You were there a long time ago.
Exactly. This is
before the ball ban.
But I said to a mate of mine, he wasn't Jewish. He came with me because we were both left wing.
Right.
So I said, well, we go there because it's actually working as it was, with, you know, whether you liked it or not. It was a collective compound within the capitalist system, but also had a dual purpose in protecting the border. You know, they're all armed and there were guards every night.
And what did the people in the kibbutz at that time think about, like, the question of the Palestinians?
Never discussed it.
No?
There were. I mean, we met with Arabs there, Bedouin, in the area, and there didn't seem to be any problems.
Right.
You know, that's the bit that doesn't make sense.
And what about all this settler movements in and expulsion of?
If you notice that when they interview a settler on the borders, they're 9 times out of 10 with American accents.
Right.
The average Israeli don't want to know about that. He wants to live in there, keep his toes clean, living in the centre of the country.
Right.
I mean, that's the way I see it. I mean, it might be simplistic, but that's the way it appears to me.
Well, a lot of people move there. They get incentives to move there, don't they?
Yeah. And I mean, let's face it, it's provocative, isn't it? I mean, make no bones about it. If you're settling up next to the bloke's bit of land that he's living in, you're provoking him.
Yeah.
And that's what. It's all essentially a land grab. Yeah. That's the way I see it.
Yeah. And how Jewish are you?
Well, I'm just born Jewish.
All right, but like practice or anything, or family, friends?
No, because I tell you, having discovered meditation about 25 years ago, I realised then there was no connection.
Oh, you're proper hippie then?
Well, proper, yeah, but there's no connection between organised religion and spirituality. They're different things. Right. People don't get that. They just don't see it.
Well, what about like Holocaust legacy and the necessities of?
No. This is the most salient point. We as human beings can't keep looking back. What happened 100 years ago, 1,000 years? We've got to start from now and sort the problem out from now. Forget it. And until we do, we'll get no further. You know what Gandhi said? An eye for an eye and a tooth for a tooth. We'll all be blind and wearing false teeth. That's it. Can't say no more. What can I? Yeah. That's my summation of the situation.
But was your family like religious or just sort of Jewish working class as it all?
No, my dad was a labourer. He went to synagogue later in life. He wanted his ticket in heaven, I think. Right. He never went till he was about 70. He started going to synagogue. I thought most peculiar. He never went before.
Insurance policy.
Yeah, exactly.
Yeah. Where do you go in the Jewish religion? Where do you go when you die?
Well, Ed, you know, I don't know the answer.
You don't know that?
No, because it never entered into it.
So you're the wrong kind of Jew to talk to then, aren't you?
Well, they never spoke about heaven and hell.
Right.
I never heard that mentioned, but that's me personally.
Right.
What other people see in it or got from it, I don't know.
Right.
But me, as an individual, I don't remember anything like that.
Okay, you said you come down to find out. But what do you think? What do you think is going on?
Where this fits into the...
What do you think is going on?
I wish I bloody knew about this one. This is really peculiar. There are many facets to this, apparently. You know, it could be him, entirely him. I mean, they might have allowed it. I mean, they might have allowed it.
Yeah.
Right, because he's in trouble politically.
Netanyahu, you mean?
Yeah, because he's I mean, I shouldn't say it's a bit of a fascist, I reckon.
Yeah.
You know,
lots of people said that, yeah.
I remember a video at the height of the pandemic when a young Israeli girl came on and said, "Save us from our government." She was in tears. They're treating us so abominably. And at this time he was Prime Minister.
Yeah, he said that Israel was one of the worst on the vaccination sort of pressure.
Yeah, which was intolerable. You couldn't even go to the beach.
Yeah, I mean that was the vaccine apartheid, wasn't it?
That's right, exactly. So you can see the way his mind works, can't you? As an individual.
Yeah. Well, those who had power then, they certainly learnt to use it in that time, didn't they?
Exactly, and that's what's frightening for the rest.
But Israel's always had, or Jewish people have always had, very critical-minded layer.
Yeah, but when at the time of the Oslo Agreement, they did come to some arrangement, and I think the terms were laid down by the Norwegians that we start from now. We don't go back talking about what happened last week and 10 years ago. We must try, and they did achieve something then.
Right.
You know, there was something achieved then.
Relative quiet for a while.
Yeah, there was.
Yeah.
Yeah, you know why? Because they were doing business. I think they were doing business with one another. They was all
well, the Arabs and that's
yeah,
right.
That's right.
That's what made me wonder now, because the Americans did kind of dump them for a while, didn't they?
Right.
You know what I mean? And they dumped the Saudis a little bit and all that.
Yeah, and people were getting along quite well.
They seem quite keen on supporting them now, though.
Yeah. Well,
I saw the aircraft carrier shot something down yesterday. Yeah.
Yeah, whether I mean, I don't know if they were there already. They might have been there for some months, mightn't they, waiting?
Well, they've got to be nearby, haven't they?
Well, yeah, but it's all happening. Whether they knew it was going to happen, like everything else. Somebody knows, doesn't
well,
they?
that's what we don't know, yeah?
We've
got some flat caps. What are we here for today, then? Oh, what's going on here, then? All the cops.
Oh. Yeah.
Palestine. Well, there's no harm in them being here, I suppose, but there's a bit many, isn't there? It's a proper team, that, isn't it?
Yeah, is there a lot of them?
It's not an army, but it's a team.
Was it as pandemic? Was it not as bad as that?
No, but there's like 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, 9 of them just over there. Look. Busy boys. They might be here for something Palestinian or something like that, though.
I wonder where Netanyahu fits into the globalist, the globalist elite.
Yeah, I mean, personally, I think the globalist elite is a combination of different types of people. It's not just one elite.
No.
There are several elites, and they reform themselves into different groups.
Yeah.
So, there's a constant battle between them.
Yeah, that's it. Yeah.
I mean, otherwise, look, the UN is officially sort of opposing Israel.
Yeah, exactly.
Yeah, because they've got so many countries who are opposed to Israel.
Oh, yeah.
They come under a lot of pressure from them.
Yeah.
And so it's not quite the same as the US, Europe, and Australia and all, and Canada are all cheering Israel on, So it's a funny mixture. The global